markets. You have to build channels. You must build the channels. Create a China market assessment. Don't go into China just because everybody else is going into China. That can be a huge risk. Go into China if you see the opportunity. And I say, don't put an office in China unless you're 100% sure that you can sell more than one product in China. Because your technology only has a certain shelf life in China. Your product only has a certain shelf life in China. If you don't continue to develop those markets from here, going over to there, if you don't have the budget to put an office in China, then basically wait. Do not put an office in China just because, oh, there's a factory or there's an office in Zhongguancun or Waigaoqiao in Shanghai. No. You need to put an office there if you're selling multiple types of technologies and you have developed those established channels.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's Microsoft.
Hey, how's Apple doing in China?
Apple, it's an interesting story about Apple. So Apple is actually using Taiwan ODMs to produce the iPod, to design the iPod, and to take the iPod into China in those Taiwanese factories to manufacture. Hong Hai and Inventec are actually producing the Apple iPod in China, and that's one of the major products that I mean, that's a mass product that you have to produce, and that's actually a lot of advanced, sophisticated technology. If you think about it, that's a little mini hard drive in there. So that's what Apple is doing. Now, it's interesting that Apple actually has the design decision for this technology, then they bring it offshore into Taiwan to actually do the design and to go over the design implementation, and then it actually gets sent into China to actually manufacture, and then it gets distributed back. Thank you. Sorry.
Good job.
Then it gets distributed back into the U.S. market or into global markets. So it's an interesting circle with what Apple is doing right now, but a lot of companies do the same thing. They're utilizing the Chinese machine for manufacturing purposes. Explore multi-regional partnering. This is actually a map that I put together for a distributor. In the year 2000, I worked for a company. We split up the China market for the technology this way. So this is kind of how we split it up. Here we go. This is talking a little bit about market blockers, defining what your market is, and then what blockers. Now, of course, I'm dealing, in the wireless space here. So that's what I'm dealing in. And in the wireless space, there's a strong need to identify the Asian market size. Well, how many mobile devices are there in China? How many of these are there in China? Well, there's approximately 400 million. But are there really 400 million? Oh no, there's actually a lot more. Why? You've got black market devices that are being produced. You've got 60 licenses to produce these mobile devices in China amongst European, American, Japanese, South Korean, Taiwanese companies producing in China. But then you have a black market of small companies that are just producing them. It's very easy to now take technology, assemble it, put a brand on it, get it out there into the market. You need to identify potential market blockers. It's important to understand what the blockers might be as you try to enter your China market. In this case, with these mobile devices, you've got regulatory issues. These are rather old, actually, the electromagnetic energy working group. Basically, what that means is you have to have these mobile devices produced with under 1 watt of usage. Otherwise, there's a strong fear that you cause a lot of radiation and possible brain tumors when you use the device over a period of time. The Chinese are just as concerned about manufacturing and using these devices as we are in the West, as they are also in Europe. Basically, the Ministry of Information Industry, way back in 2002, said, hey, wait a minute. We are concerned with Western companies spying on us. We want the servers, and we want you to prove that your technology is not going to spy on us. And we actually would prefer Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, take your servers, put them in China so we can monitor them. A lot of Western companies have done that. So they've traded off. They've traded off some of their strategy and some of their principles to get into the Chinese market, essentially. That may be what has to happen for Western companies accessing China. Defining market and blockers again. Intellectual property protection. Well, put it this way. I don't know any